Welcome. I'm Jo, a wealth and identity coach. I help women create an extraordinary next chapter filled with greater wealth, more prosperity, confidence, visibility, and most of all, freedom, and helping them reconnect to who they truly were all along. And today, I want to talk to you about what most coaches won't talk about. The painful space, the in-between, the gap where you're growing, you're leaving the old identity and you're stretching into your new higher version, where your fears are often screaming the loudest and actually can feel so scary you end up going back. It's where you're going to hear those old limiting beliefs louder. And this is why so many women end up giving up. They stay stuck, frozen in fear far too long, because this wasn't meant to stop you. This space was actually there to guide and show you what beliefs you needed to let go of, what you needed to replace. And so, well, this happened to me unexpectedly only last week when I flew into LA to attend an actual manifestation event. And I know I'm in the middle of a quantum leap, but also in the middle of identity shift. So I'm working and moving as the woman who already has the next level. That's how identity shift works. So I booked the suite in the top hotel and I upgraded the flight ticket. So I went as the version of me who already has the wealth, already has the business level. So I'm walking into the version of myself, and I'm going to be surrounded by highly successful businesswomen from all across the USA. And I was so excited and literally ready to go. It was a last minute decision and it was a 5-day trip. And so once I'd booked the suite, I was like, wow, this is happening. But everything was going great. The plane flight was fantastic. Everything was nice. Everything was going as I expected until the suite arrived. And believe me, it was beautiful. It was massive, spacious, luxurious, more than I could have asked for. But I'd unpacked and sort of made myself a drink. And suddenly feelings of self-doubt started to rise. And they were getting loud, and I mean really loud. And they were saying, how can you afford this, Jo? You're mad spending this kind of money. Do you really need all this space when there's only you? How dare you take up so much room? Who says you can have all this luxury? And honestly, they were getting so loud that even I was getting a bit worried. Now, just a few years ago, I would have allowed that fear to probably dictate my entire reality from that moment. Every future step I made on that holiday would have been shrunk in fear and probably not even gone to the event because I would have felt so unworthy. I would have self-sabotaged myself. But due to the fact I know now what's happening to me, and I know exactly how to overcome this and why it's happening, I could just simply observe myself. As we are souls having this human experience, and this was the human part of me stepping up and screaming and shouting, showing me what I needed to work on. Now, before I would have reacted. Now I don't. I look at it from my soul's point of view, and I'm watching the human part of me having the reactions, the feelings. I'm not denying them, but I'm aware of them. So I can quickly change the meaning, the story, and I can swap those limiting beliefs in straight away, because most people don't grasp this idea that we can change what we do and how we feel, because I was having imposter syndrome really coming up really strong. And even I was a bit surprised that this room suite had actually triggered myself, because only recently I'd upgraded rooms before. And they were really nice rooms, but this was double the price of those. And there was something within this space that was really upsetting and bringing up what I needed to be listening to and working with. So it can often happen when we are growing, when we're stretching, when we're trying to rise, whether that's in business, relationships, careers, or simply starting to realize that you want to raise your standards. So I'll give you just something to write down, because this can help, especially when you're having that wobble, and it just helps you remind yourself that you have the power and the control to change. I can be standing in the very thing I asked for and still feel uncomfortable and scared. And that's okay, because now I can change this and I'm aware of why and what's happening. Because when you do that, you tell your mind that you are in control and you give yourself the space to then take back your control and not let those limiting beliefs completely, absolutely drown you in fear and ruin the rest of your whatever it is you're doing. Because I remember years ago, I went off and I attended a rock concert. It was a camping weekend, but I went on my own this time and I pitched my tent up and it got really busy. I was surrounded. And when the evening event started to kick off, for some reason, I didn't feel I was able, and I started to go into quite a fearful, reactive state. And in the end, I didn't even leave the tent the whole evening. I could hear people around me. I could hear them having fun, but I was so scared to be seen on my own that actually I wrecked the whole weekend myself, because I wasn't self-aware. I wasn't able to switch over and see what I was happening to me. I wasn't able to change the belief. I didn't even understand beliefs were controlling everything I did. So thankfully now, having that self-awareness is my biggest joy, because I get to view from the outside and I don't have to react like I used to. Because if I had listened to those feelings and gone backwards, all I would have done, I would have confirmed the old belief was still true. So fear, when it starts to rise, it's basically there trying to show me that maybe there's a belief there still that says I don't deserve more, that maybe I didn't, and I'm not worthy of taking up more space, and I'm not worthy of holding more wealth yet and having that expansion, that somehow other people did belong there, but I didn't. That was the old belief coming up. But that's not what I chose to do. I noticed it and I got curious instead. I did the inner work there and then. I didn't mess about. I just got on with it, because the truth is that suite had no meaning in itself. It's just a set of rooms. It's not anything apart from what it states to be. Because some people can walk in there and their first concern is what's in the minibar, and they don't think anything of it. Whereas my thing was then all to do with what's going on in my head. So my discomfort wasn't coming from the room, wasn't coming to the fact it was so expensive compared to what I'd ever spent before. It was coming from the meaning that I was giving it. And that's what was so powerful. That's the joy of doing this work, because it showed me very clearly a little belief, a little story that was still sitting there underneath the surface, which was still creating results. A belief that needed to be seen and heard so it could be released, because I can't change anything what I don't know. If I'm not self-aware, I can't change it, nor can anyone else. And that's one of the reasons I think this work, and it's so important to put yourself in new, expansive environments before you have the wealth, the dream in hand, because you can't experience this or you can't work this out until you've gone through it. To attend the event, to have the conversations, to experience the things that the future self would be naturally doing and experiencing, because that's where you're going to find out where your limitations reveal themselves. This is where the work starts. Not so you can start picking yourself apart or judging yourself or blaming, because there's no one to blame here. So you can become aware of them so you can change them. This is exactly what I teach my clients. Not just how to create more wealth and joy and abundance, but actually to feel confident, comfortable and capable to hold the success, the more wealth, and to get their nervous system in a state of this is familiar. And actually, the more familiar we are with something, the more comfortable our nervous system is safe, and we expand to welcome more of it. We trust ourselves more so we can grow and expand, because when you're aware of your limiting stories and beliefs and the meanings you're giving things, because we do this every microsecond, yeah, you then have the power to change them, to change the outcome. And when you can change them, your identity begins to shift. You stop seeing through the lens of your past, of your limiting beliefs, which were literally that, limiting you. You couldn't see the reality, you just saw them through your old view. Now, you'll start to see the possibilities that are open to you. And that's where your confidence starts to grow. That's where your self-trust grows. That's when you start to believe in yourself. That's when you know that you have the power to change. And that's when income grows suddenly. Because you're no longer chasing what you actually desire. You're becoming the woman who can openly receive it with grace. And that's when your identity changes, your reality starts to change with it, and the outside world reflects it back to you. You start to rise, you expand, and you begin to co-create a life that once felt completely out of reach. And what I've learned is, the biggest lesson, is that unfamiliar doesn't actually now mean unsafe. It simply means it's new. And if you can stay in that space long enough, without the fears, without the worries, eventually what once felt uncomfortable and scary becomes normality. So what once felt impossible becomes your everyday life. Your nervous system's accepting it and allowing it. And that's the difference. And what once felt like your next level actually simply becomes who you are now. So if this conversation has resonated with you, don't forget to hit subscribe and like, because in future videos, I'm going to be sharing more in depth, more about how to attract wealth, the identity shifts that we need to make to allow this to come in, how we do manifest, and how we can stop holding ourselves back from the life that we truly desire and actually deserve. Because I genuinely believe we can all have more of anything we want and desire if we just become aware of what it is that we're not allowing in. So that freedom, that confidence, more joy, more money, more of the life that we're here to live is available to you. And if you truly know that you're meant for more, then you're in the right place. And if you're ready to move into your next chapter, discover who you truly can be, and want to rise with other women and receive what it is that you truly come here to receive, to bring your dreams and desires into life, then message me here, all on my social media platform. All the details are in the show notes, because I have both group and also one-to-one coaching currently available, both with limited spaces so I can hold and give the best. So please reach out if you're feeling drawn to this. Now, I trust myself now to know that every time I get drawn to something, that I investigate it. I don't let go. I know my soul's trying to show me, even though I don't want to jump in maybe, but I get to explore and find out. There's a difference between people that do expand and receive and those that keep continuously rejecting it and pushing the actual abundance and wealth away. Because in order to create new, we have to do new things. If we're sat there comfortable all the time, we don't change. We know that because we do and repeat the same things. So thank you for being here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you here for the next video.